unmistakable sound of the Huey, a nickname used almost universally for this helicopter. It comes from its original designation of HU-1. That's the U-1H Iroquois from the Huey team of NSS Holdings based near Preston in Lancashire. And as I said, a combat veteran of the Vietnam War.
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of everything that stands. The end, no safety or surprise. The end, I'll never look into your eyes again.
With me in the commentary box is the Huey's operator, Phil Connolly. Phil, welcome back to East Fortune.
Good afternoon, Ben, and good afternoon to everybody at East Fortune. It's a pleasure to be back here again.
What exactly is the Vietnam War history of this particular Huey? They performed so many roles, and this was one of thousands deployed to the Southeast Asia theatre.
UE 509 is, she's probably on the internet today, is probably one of the most famous Hueys out there. She served with the 129th Helicopter Assault Unit. She's actually got 559 combat hours, which totaled 108 missions. And there's a huge following with the machine. And anybody that's been fortunate to get close up to the machine, you'll see the names on the back of the door of people who sadly served in action with it and didn't come back. And the whole airframe is actually riddled with bullet holes. So she's had a tough life.
But you wouldn't know it from the immaculate state in which it appears today.
Well, that's true, but we have an excellent team of volunteers that work on a meticulous day to keep her out there and keep her in good spirits and keep her flying.
What roles, Phil, did this particular Huey perform in Vietnam?
Its main role was we call it a battlefield taxi. It took the troops from the base forward to the forward front line.
And they came under extremely heavy fire on occasion, though, didn't they, in the course of that?
They did, and if you actually look at the statistics for the Huey, there's over 7,000 Hueys saw service in Vietnam. Nearly half of them were lost, and there's a staggering 2,177 Huey crew members were killed in action.
And you could perform virtually a complete assault mission with Hueys alone.
Yeah, it's, there is on record, something like 25 Hueys going into a combat action, and we look at each of these days and we say, 25 of these coming towards you, the Viet Cong would be able to have the tea in a brew before they even have to do anything.
It's not the most rapid helicopter, but a very, very tough one.
We have, we do travel from one end of the country to the other doing it, and it's, we get emails all over the place. People say, "You just passed over our place." Was that really you guys? Yeah, it's not fast, but it makes a brilliant sound.
So, what was the history of this helicopter after its involvement in Vietnam?
The history records show that when it came back from Vietnam, it went obviously back into US Army, and then we have pictures of it, he actually was a VIP ship for a while, carrying some of the high-ranking generals around, and then sadly he was taken out of action and stored in the desert.
And you bought the aircraft when?
The story behind it was in 2003 we bought the aircraft as a complete wreck, and if anyone wants to look at our website www.huey.co.uk, in the restoration section you'll actually see the aircraft when we bought it. There was no tail on it, no engine, no gearbox in it, and we started from scratch with it. It was a 2-year period to rebuild it, and the guys in the States were brilliant. The veterans over there all came together to give us a lift to rebuild the machine, and we started flying it in June 2005.
And here it appears in its original Vietnam colours. With which unit?
The 129th Helicopter Assault Unit. That is their colours, and it's significant by the bits of yellow you see on the tips of the skid and around it.
And this, of course, isn't the only Vietnam-era helicopter that you own, is it? Because last year, for example, we saw the Hughes U-1H HUEY, the Loach that you also have, and there's more in the pipeline.
Yeah, there is indeed. The idea is we're putting together a historic flight, and it's going to be the Vietnam helicopters. So number 1 was the Huey, number 2 is the Loach, which everybody saw last year, and our third machine, which is online and we're still working hard, is the AH-1 Cobra, and let's just say that's working practically.
And at the controls today, an extremely experienced British helicopter pilot, an ex-military man, Rob Tierney, but he is someone who has a great deal of experience on Hueys as well, even though the type wasn't actually used by the UK Armed Services. Just before we talk a bit more about Rob, Aaron Stewart, aged 6, is in Hangar 4. Can his mother please go there and get him? That's Aaron Stewart, I should say, aged 6. He is in Hangar 4. Can his mother please go and get him from there? Thank you. So back to Rob Tierney then, who's displaying this Huey. He first got Huey experience when, Phil?
It's Rob's probably his real claim to fame. You know, when the Falklands War was on, Rob was there. You know, the famous helicopter ship got sank, and Rob was on the ground, and they went looking for anything they could fly to ferry the troops around, and he found 2 Argentinian Hueys, and he just jumped in there, and within 5-10 minutes he was flying it, and he was ferrying the troops around. He got that attached to it, the same as us guys, that he wouldn't part with it, and eventually he got it on the ship and got it back to the UK, and that famous aircraft then was called G Huey, which is it's down south. I think it's in a museum now, but he's still tugs the strings of his heart these days when we mention that name.
And Rob's next test pilot, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, Rob's he's got a wealth of experience. He first joined the Air Force in 1965, went through all sorts of jet provost training, whirlwind training, Wessex, and he joined the Rotary Test Squadron at Boscombe Down in 1975. He flew no end of helicopters there, and he's even got fixed-wing license, and he's flew, well, I understand, lightnings and all sorts of things, so he's a fantastic member of the team and a wealth of experience, and he certainly puts us back in our place when we misbehave.
So Rob, bringing the U-1H into land once again, we'll be seeing it departing at the end of the show. Phil Connolly, thank you very much indeed. Just before you go, your merchandising stand isn't far behind us here in the crowd area, is it?
No, it's just behind the commentary point there. You can't miss it. It's the motorhome with a camouflage net over it, and you know, anybody that comes to supports us and buys bits and pieces of it, we truly appreciate it.
So, well, Phil Connolly, thank you very much indeed for helping talk through that display. Always terrific to see this Vietnam warbird in action at East Fortune. Not just the sight, but also the sound of the Bell U-1H Iroquois, the famous Huey, touching down after its display.